Victorians outraged at heavy-handed policing during the COVID pandemic can thank their lucky stars because it could have been much, much worse. Now, I know that's a big thing to say because, well, remember this?
Media! Media! Media!
They're throwing stuff now.
Well, it turns out police were going easy on the public. There's a little-known law on the books in Victoria that gives police the power to do pretty much anything, including killing people if they fail to move on after being told to do so. And here's the important part: in the name of the King. Now, this law, inherited from England, is called the Riot Act. And basically, it works like this. If a magistrate or a justice of the peace reads a prepared statement to a crowd telling them to move on in the name of the sovereign, they've got 1 hour to do so. And if they fail to do so, the law, the Riot Act, still on the books in Victoria, states, and I quote, "If persons so unlawfully, riotously and tumultuously assembled happen to be, killed, maimed or hurt in the dispersing, the offenders, that is, the police, shall be free, discharged and indemnified of, for and concerning the killing, maiming or hurting of any such person unlawfully assembled as aforesaid." Now, this came to light yesterday when MPs were dealing with a bill to remove references to the sovereign or the monarchy from various pieces of legislation. Now, MPs voted to remove references to the Queen from this particular act, but left the act itself, which indemnifies police from killing citizens who fail to move on from a protest, on the statute books. Here's Liberal Democrat David Limbrick.
I am unsure with what's more concerning to me, the licence to kill without consequence provided by this Act, or the fact that upon review, the only amendment the government felt necessary to this archaic power was omitting Lady the Queen and God Save the Queen from the proclamation that allows murder.
Kel and Liz, I'm wondering, is this like an amusing legal oddity, or is this something the Victorian government should repeal and get rid of?
100% they should repeal it, which other countries have done. Our mother country, the UK, did 10 years before I was born because they recognised that it wasn't right for the state to have that kind of power. I don't know what you mean by saying Victorians could have had it worse. They did have it this bad. The police did behave with complete impunity because people may not have been aware of this very, very old and antiquated act, but the police most certainly are. They're trained in it before they go to work in the force. They know what they're allowed to do. And this act tells them that when you're dealing with a protest, this is a licence to kill. So you're certainly not going to hesitate to do anything less than that. And of course, Dan Andrews, now that this has been brought to people's attention, I certainly hope that David Limbrick now pursues this and seeks to have it repealed, not amended, repealed, because this does not belong in modern day Australia. The state should not have the power to kill you just if you won't move on from a protest.
Well, this is a Victorian Act of Parliament in both senses because it was passed in 1860. That's where it comes from. And it's based on a British Act of 1714, which was passed at the time, I think, of the Gordon riots. So this does belong in the past. I actually looked up the date when the British government repealed their act, and I'm not going to tell anyone because that will tell them your age. But it was a long time
As long as
ago.
we both have the same date, I'm not sure.
We'll go home to Google and we'll find out.
So it's absurd. And this is the police force who still have these powers, who are going to be issued with tasers. So, I'm worried about doing anything in Victoria now because I'll suddenly have 1,000 volts of electricity shot through me by the transit police if I don't have a ticket.
I probably wouldn't have worried about old-fashioned laws like this. They're kind of, an archaic, amusement until the last couple of years revealed you just don't want stuff like this on the books.
No laws are archaic amusements. All laws are laws. We don't keep them for posterity, James.
Legislation has to be cleaned up. You can't leave these on the books.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, the New South Wales Parliament were reviewing Sunday trading for hotels, and they discovered the Act required everyone who ran a pub to provide hay for the horses. And they thought, hang on, this is silly. And you clean up your legislation. You don't leave the old stuff there.